Hi, this is Generational Thinkers Farms. My name is Aomi Pretty Quintana. We'll be talking briefly about why you should consult an expert when it comes to fish farming. So helping me do that is Mr. Elamwanda, the CEO of Generational Thinkers Farms. Welcome.
Thank you.
So today we want to talk briefly on why you should consult an expert when it comes to fish farming. So I'll start with the first one, then I leave it to my boss to continue from there. So why you need an expert is to save you from unnecessary costs that could have been avoided.
Building from your point or building on your point, when you consult an expert, it takes you in a whole lot.
Okay.
One, it saves you from making a lot of mistakes. People make a lot of mistakes when it comes to fish farming. Sometimes people hear that someone tells you can give them cow dung. Then people go into that, they begin to feed their fishes with a whole lot, introducing infection into the pond. So if you consult an expert, it's going to save you from making that mistake. And also, when you consult an expert, it's going to save you, like you said, it's going to save you from spending so much. People buy equipment that are not needed for the particular fish that they are raising. There are fishes that people raise that do not even need oxygenator.
Sure.
There are fishes people raise that do not need a heater. There are fishes people raise that do not even need a particular pond in which they are raising them. But they do all those things and they make a lot of expenses, and at the end the profit margin, what they are aiming at, they don't even have it. So when you consult an expert, it saves you from all those things.
And also it helps you to stay in business. Imagine spending a whole lot of things on your fish farming, and at the end of the day you achieve nothing from it. Even you went bankrupt because you've not consulted the right people. You've not even consulted anybody at all. You just hear that, oh, there's money in fishing, and so you went into it, spending a lot of things, and at the end of the day the same money you spend from into the business, you've not even gotten the money back, and you even run at a loss again. Sometimes people do that and they don't end up continuing the business again. That is why it is good you consult an expert, so that you stay in business, not just that, you also succeed in the business.
Do you also know that in fish farming, if you do not consult an expert, do you know that sometimes people build pond, they build the pond all right, but unfortunately after one rain the pond
everything collapsed.
Sometimes they build a pond assuming they have about 5,000 capacity of fish in mind to raise in a pond. And let's take it for instance for a tilapia. Because they do not consult an expert, they raise a pond which could contain only 50 fishes. And at the end they come to you, they want to buy 5,000 fishes. If you try to ask them what's the size of your pond, what are the measures you have, what is your system, then when they begin to describe what they have to you, then you realize that no, this man is going to fail in that aspect because he has started something that he didn't consult. So he's just using his own mind. Then at the end, when you send the fishes, all of them are going to die, or at least a lot of them are going to die, because the size of the pond is not the quantity of fish that they can take. There's one time one guy invited me. They already started they started the project all right, and then they invited me all the way. I went, and then we checked the size of the pond and everything, and then they told me, oh, they really want to go into catfish farming. And then I checked the size of the pond, and I realized that it was just about 3 feet square, and they want to do it in a very large scale with 3 feet square. So I calculated the whole thing, and I told them with the size of pond they are raising, it could take only probably some 50 pieces of fish and they were down. And I was like, no, don't let your morale go down. It's rather you pick it from here. If you had consulted the experts earlier, you wouldn't have made this mistake. So sometimes it's good from the scratch. Once you have the idea
In mind.
you just have to consult an expert. How do I do it? How do I go about it? How do I do this and this and that? So we guide you. We guide you through success. If you don't consult an expert, you may make a lot of mistakes that you could have avoided a long time. You may make all those mistakes. And believe me, for how long can you keep learning from your mistakes before you succeed in business? Something that standing on the shoulder of an expert could take you just a minute to learn and practice and be successful. It may take you years of experience or personal experience, personal trial to get to those stages. And if you don't have enough money to keep trying and failing and trying and failing, you realize that at the end you may give up and your business will go down.
And also I can't remember, we went to one of our customers. It was even a new customer that we went to who was already in the business. I can't remember, we went there checking on his pond. There was no outlet, no inlet, no plumbing work. All they did was the block work, and there are fishes in that thing. What you can't consume, you cannot even sell it to people out there. What you will see, and it will not attract you the same way to not attract somebody. When we got there, there was no outlet, no inlet. The fishes were just in the block work like that, and they cover it with a rubber. So anytime they want to discharge the water, someone has to go into the pond with their legs unwashed, with their hands unwashed. The people that are even entering the pond, excuse me to say, are not well bathed or dressed. So they enter the pond just like that, which the possibility of infesting or introducing infection into the pond is 100%. So imagine that person has consulted an expert. They could have known that there's something we call outlet and even inlet, which could have saved people from entering the pond. So all you need to do is just to go to the back of the pond, you open the outlet, it flush out the water that you no longer need, you open the inlet, and it comes in as simple as that.
Coming back to saving costs and consulting an expert, just recently, this very week, within this very week, someone called me all the way from Accra, Ghana, and then he wanted to go into fish farming. So in his mind, he has this Veronica bucket that he wants to use. So in the Veronica bucket, he said he budgeted for buying a pump. So anytime the water is dirty, he can put the pump inside the Veronica bucket and then collect the water, the wastewater out, and then pump new one into it. And then because he has consulted me, I told him, you don't have to use so much money in buying pump just to pick water or draw water out of that Veronica bucket. So I can come with my crew, will come and then work on the bucket for you, or you can get a plumber and I'll guide the plumber as in how to do an outlet on that Veronica bucket. And believe you me, instead of spending about 3,000 Ghana cedis to buy machine and also using electricity every day trying to discharge water out of the pond every day, it has cost him less than 100 Ghana cedis to just buy the little plumbing materials and their fittings or just the Veronica bucket, and that has saved him a lot of cost. So sometimes somebody may think if you consult an expert, the expert may charge you or you may have to pay some money, but sometimes the mistakes that you will make, the cost of that mistake what you are going to pay out of that mistake may be more than consulting
an expert. And lastly, when you consult an expert, it also helps you to give your fishes the right nutrients they need. You know, when fishes, just like children, when they are very young, they need a lot of nutrients to grow, but as they are growing, we keep reducing some of the nutrients because they no longer need it. For adults now, there are nutrients that we don't need so much. Same applies to fishes. When they are very young, they need some nutrient. It's a must for them, but as they grow, we decrease it. So if you consult an expert, it helps you to give them the right feeds, the right things to feed them in order for them to grow, so that the money you invest in it, you can at least you get what you invest in the business, and also something to add to your capital to prove that you are really in the business. But imagine you just standing up, going to buy fish and then pour into water, saying that, oh, God will shut the mouth of the fishes so that they will not chew each other. Meanwhile, you are not even feeding them.
Yeah.
Or you are feeding them with something they don't need. So at the end of the day, you are even giving them poison instead of nutrients to grow. So at the end of the day, your money will not grow because you are not feeding it well. Your money is your fishes. It is one thing to consult an expert, and it's another thing to listen when the expert give advices. So if you know you want to go into fishing, please go for the expert in that field. That is why it is good you contact us at Generational Thinkers Farms. We don't just advise you and leave you on the way. We make sure that we follow up on the advices we give you. We check up on you. Every supply we give you, we check up on you until you succeed in your fishing business. Mr. Alamwanda, if there's anything you want to add up to it, you can add it up to it.
This is just the beginning. We may not be able to say everything in this one video. And so we advise you to contact Generational Thinkers Fund on +233 54 34 84 762. If you are in Ghana, you can just call directly 054 34 84 762. And once you consult Generational Thinkers Farms,
we help you to succeed in all your fishy farming businesses.